We are survivors of the typhoon. We have weathered the incitement of political violence, threats of civil war, the abuse of our Justice Department, and much more. And now, at a pivotal moment in our nation's history, we face a choice that will either plunge us further into chaos or navigate us to safety.
As Taiwanese Americans, we believe in the power and the beauty of democracy, whether it be in Taiwan or here in the United States. Historically, we've supported the Republican Party to defend and protect these same values. At this point, we should really ask ourselves, does Donald Trump really believe in the value of democracy?
自由民主是轻重要的 Donald Trump 是破坏自由民主的人。
His only goal is becoming the kind of authoritarian ruler he idolizes, like Putin or Xi Jinping, the kind that bans books, corrupts the courts, and quashes dissent.
I'm Taiwanese American living in Taiwan. Every day I see the growing threat with fighter jets coming into Taiwan's airspace.
In an interview with Bloomberg magazine, Donald Trump basically invited China to invade Taiwan by saying that even as the leader of the free world and the commander of the world's greatest military, there's nothing that he could do if China were to invade.
In July, this convicted felon lied and said Taiwanese were dishonest and were stealing all of America's semiconductor chip business.
His recent comments that Taiwan, quote, doesn't give us anything, and that it should pay us for protection, betray this thug-like mentality.
Taiwan is where I was born. I came here when I was 3.5. Kamala Harris is a big supporter of alliances, and the best way to prevent aggression in the Indo-Pacific region is to have a strong alliance structure.
Kamala has characterized Taiwan as, quote, a vibrant democracy that contributes to the global good, and has insisted that the U.S., quote, will continue to support Taiwan's self-defense.
The Biden-Harris administration pushed for billions of dollars of funding to the Indo-Pacific to provide peace and stability to this critical region of the world. It was Republicans who follows the leader Donald Trump who held that package up for 6 months.
Do we want someone who is so narcissistic, so unstable, and so unhinged? Someone who can be easily manipulated by our adversaries with flattery and favors? Or do we want a true leader like Kamala Harris, who is principled, calm, and strong, who puts our country first before her party and self-interest?
Her commitment to diversity will help ensure that Taiwanese American voices are heard and addressed at the highest levels of government. Her leadership will strengthen U.S. ties with Taiwan, and her policies will help promote peace and stability in the region, as well as shared democratic values.
She not only understands what it means to be a woman of color, a Black woman, an Asian American woman, a woman who understands how important reproductive rights are.
She is the perfect antidote to felon Donald Trump, 34-count fraud, twice impeached traitor, and convicted sex abuser who cost the United States dearly in international friendship and respect during his 4 chaotic years in office. Now, this criminal wants to return to a White House with immunity.
By contrast, Kamala Harris is clear-headed, reliable, and energized to move forward to a future of justice and equality.
Kamala Harris comes into the role with experience and conviction. And as she says, harm against any of us is harm against all of us.
We see this in her recent advocacy for the Respect for Marriage Act and strong support for LGBTQ rights. She is driven not by cynicism and a toxic nostalgia for an America where there is freedom for some, but rather optimism for the future where there is freedom for all.
Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are true public servants. They've dedicated their entire lives to supporting their communities and working class people like you and me.
Protecting reproductive freedom, implementing common sense gun laws, and securing initiatives for working families.
With the election just around the corner, what we do now will determine the future for generations to come.
As a father, I don't want my kids growing up knowing that hate, lies, and violence can be rewarded with the highest office in the land.
所以我们要把选举无先出，也没无破坏自由民主的总统。
Years from now, I want to be able to look my children and grandchildren in the eye and tell them that I did everything to protect democracy in this country.
The choice this fall couldn't be more clear.
There could not be more at stake in this year's election, and together we can win this.
This election is beyond party. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent, we need to rise up as Americans.
Especially if you're living in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia. We need your help. Bring your friends to vote, register to vote, knock on doors, and like Vice President Harris says, when we fight, we win.
Make a plan for yourself to vote. Decide how, when, and where you will cast your ballot, and let's make history on November 5th. Thank you.